relating to sanity.
Well, if you're still trying to get it back, you gotta do.
Yeah.
Not guilty by
But you heard
reason
him, I don't
of
think he's even gonna
insanity.
bother.
The president pushed for it before benefits
It's one of them
ran
things.
out for
It
millions
depends on how
last
much you
year.
want to push.
The
I
Senate was
understand
thinking
where
of
you
approving
know
an extension in
bored of it and
benefits
stuff
for
like
the
that, but
long-term
it's just one of the things where
The
it
bill
depends on how
faces
much you
an
want to push it.
uncertain future in the House, but a spokesman for Speaker John Boehner says he is willing to consider the
All right,
measure
Tony.
if it
It's
includes
time to start the
provisions to
fire.
create more
You're going
private
down.
sector jobs. What's
I got
up
more
today
water
for
than you do,
financial
so
and tech stocks?
you'll
The
be in
Dow
trouble.
closing
I don't
down
need water.
167, the Nasdaq off 48. You're listening to Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Do you guys watch basketball or no?
Us? Tonight. Yeah, I haven't watched.
This is the only time I watch basketball
Maybe
for
tonight.
March Madness.
Yeah, maybe.
That's it.
See, my brother's a big, I mean, he's got season tickets to the
Oh, yeah,
guys and the
he's
girls.
big on the Huskies.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I like it. I mean, I'll watch them, but I'm not like a diehard. I mean, granted, I'm glad that they've accomplished what they've accomplished,
Oh, yeah,
which is good. I'm a baseball, football, Red Sox fan. I'm a Miami Dolphins fan. And, you know, hockey I don't really care about. NBA.
Hockey's okay, but the problem is that if you watch hockey on TV, it's not the same like going to the game.
The games are the best.
You have to go to the game.
Yeah, I've never been to a
You gotta hear
game.
the hit and you gotta hear the...
Never been to a Whaler or Wolfpack game,
No.
nothing like that?
No.
Man,
No.
Missing out.
I go to hockey games. You watch them on TV a little bit and stuff like that, and the playoffs and stuff. I mean, every once in a while I'll watch the highlights and everything. I watch all sports. I watch any kind of sport really. I don't care what it is. I watch sports.
Can't watch baseball.
Oh,
Me watching baseball on TV is like me watching a cup race. I fall asleep eventually.
It's not too bad when I'm down my shop because I'll have it on TV, but I'm always doing stuff. So it's not too bad.
Hey guys, just so I did some homework here on the World of Outlaws because I don't know much, so I'm going to let David do a lot of the talking. But they got this new thing, if you guys want to throw that out, this new thing, it's called the Dash format. Which
Oh, I thought they've always had that.
no, from what I
The
understand,
winner of
it's
the heats go to a dash race.
yeah, the way I read it and I listened to an interview he did with somebody else, that it's some type of a new format, the way they're doing it. So,
I don't know anything about it, but I know they've always had like a dash for cash. It's called.
yeah. And then Frank Manafort bought his engine.
Hey, I heard because he's a loser, got a speeding penalty on pit road at the end. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I wonder whose fault that was. Was the guy pushing him from behind?
Oh, why?
Well, it had to be somebody else's fault.
He
could
did
not
admit,
be.
in the interview, he says, you know, they asked him what he thought of that, and he says, you know what, I think I was kind of pushing it a little bit too much. So I thought he was going to kind of go off on NASCAR, but he was pretty good.
I don't think going off on anybody ends up helping you in the end.
Such a bitch. Last week, the first thing he did when he got into that wreck, he blamed Casey Kane, the first guy he blamed.
Yeah.
Tape is rolling.
That guy's
I
struggling out
stopped
there.
it for a couple
And
minutes.
I'm like, you're bashing the guy because he's
Because you
pitted
kept
late.
pointing over there, and I was going over there.
And then-
Tape.
Yeah, well, the tape
What was
was now
Chris
over
supposed to do,
there.
driving to the Jersey barrier?
Yeah,
Is that what it is?
yeah, that's why I was pointing over there.
Oh, that's
Like, that's where it is.
Gotcha. I was.
I can't,
I
I
didn't
can't
actually
see
see
if
what
the
happened.
wheels
Oh,
are turning, but I'm
so?
pretty sure it is.
What
Here we
about?
go.
I like it. Someone looks sick.
I thought you were covering it up so I wouldn't see it.
No, I didn't. I just put my hand there.
Welcome back to the Speedway Line Report, presented to you by Shaler Acura of Manchester, Connecticut.
Welcome back, everyone. Gary Danko here in the Waterbury studio, right alongside Rocket Rick Rotundo from R&R Fabrication, Tony Membrino Jr., who will be competing in the SK Modified Division this year at Stafford Motor Speedway. We're also joined by the 2013 NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour champion, Ryan Preece. He also runs Sunoco Modified over at the Thompson Speedway. And, of course, he runs an SK over at Stafford. So it's going to be a busy season for Ryan. We heard Scott Fern, the owner of Keith Rocco's car, talk about the disqualification from yesterday's late model event at Thompson. That was a drive-by, so we're glad that Scott could join us for that. And we just heard from Woody Pitcat. Now we're going to give David Gravel a call. He runs on the World of Outlaws. He went back a few weeks ago at Merced Speedway. We'll talk to him more about that. Of course, David is from Watertown, Connecticut. Right now he's in California, so it's going to be about just about 5 after 4. Hey Ryan, you got a chance to run quarter midgets with David?
Yeah. Way back. It's been a long time, but I see him every now and then when he's back here. We go karting or something, and he's a good kid. Obviously, he's making his way through the dirt series with the World of Outlaws. That's like running cup on asphalt, so it's a pretty cool deal.
Yeah, and you guys all kind of take a different path. You took the asphalt path. He took the dirt path. I mean, did you ever want to try dirt?
Yeah, actually, my spotter, Joe Scott Nicky, keeps trying to get me a 410 or a 360 ride to try out in Pennsylvania, and I'm still trying to let him get me, or try and get in one. They look like a lot of fun, and sometimes, I look back and I think what it would have been like if I kept on the midgets or the sprint car path, but obviously I'm happy I stayed in modifieds.
Okay, well now we're going to talk to a gentleman that knows something about dirt. He won back a few weeks ago at Merced Speedway in Merced, California. David Gravel now joins us. David, how are you? I'm doing very well. I did say that correct. Merced, is that right? Okay. I'm joined by the 2013 NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour champion Ryan Preece, Tony Membrino Jr., Rocket Rick Rotundo, and of course also in our studio we have Robert Baggett, known as the YouTube guy, and he's doing some stuff here tonight in our Waterbury studio. But let's talk about your season so far. Before we talk about the victory, talk about where it started for you in 2014.
We started in Florida and Ocala with the All-Stars, and we ran pretty well there, and we moved on to Volusia and ran with the Outlaws there and really struggled there, actually, and then we went to East Bay in Tampa, Florida, and ran some 360 races, and we struggled there a little bit, and the final night we finally had a good run, but that was in the 59 car that I'm driving for the whole year. But out here in California, I'm driving the Tyner Racing 83 car, and we've been doing the Outlaw shows out here.
Ricky, want to jump in there?
I was just looking over the racing schedule, and it looks like you guys race quite a bit. You got races like back-to-back days and everything else?
It gets pretty hectic in May and June and stuff like that. I know we race probably 21, 22 times a month sometimes, so it's pretty slow right now, just racing on the weekends, but you got to take it for granted.
Yeah, because that's like most of our series. We just race once a week, and that's, we have different divisions we can go to with different tracks where you can race 2 or 3 times a week, but most of the time it's just, once a week or something like that, and racing 21 times a month, that's a lot of races.
Yeah, for sure. The normal Outlaw guy will probably run probably 70 to 80 shows, but guys that pick and choose and race all over, they could run over 100 times if they wanted to.
Now, David, you said that you race for 2 different teams?
Yeah, I'm just driving this car out here in California just to do these Outlaw shows so I can get some racing in. Frank Manafort actually purchased a sprint car engine for us because his team didn't have a motor, and I brought the motor out here, and now we're racing. I raced for this team last year at a big 360 show out here, and we ran well, so we wanted to race together again since we worked well together.
Now, let me ask you, David, do you think switching teams breaks your momentum?
If you go good in one car, you can't just hop in the other one and go good. But, sometimes, as a driver, you feel like King Kong, you're winning races and, just running well no matter what you jump in, you can run well with. But sometimes different cars, different motors, different shocks, different wings, sometimes it's hard to get going in a different car. So, I hope when I get back in the 59 car, we could start off good again. But, you never know. Sometimes it breaks your momentum. Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, I hear you with that. Switching chassis all the time, going from a Troyer car or a CD car or anything. Yeah, it can be different. They all drive different, and you got to be able to adapt real quick. So I definitely know where you're coming from there.
It's just one of those things, sometimes you're on your game, sometimes you're not. If you get the car close enough, the driver's got to do the rest. So as long as they get in the ballpark, that's your job.
Where you won back a few weeks ago, David, describe Merced Speedway out there in Merced, California.
It's a tiny little place. I believe it's only a quarter mile. I got a quick time new track record at 10.5, so it was a really, really fast track. At a quarter mile, we were wide open around the whole place qualifying. Slight bank to it. Nothing crazy. No walls in the corners, just on the front and back stretch. But tight little place. It was pretty much around the bottom the whole night, and it got slicked up enough where you could kind of run through the middle and right around the right rear, and that's how I passed a few guys to get up front. And it was just it was a good night. It was a night I won't forget.
Now, Dave, I'm looking at your schedule we got printed out here too, and I noticed it says most of it's wing sprint. Do you got any plans to do any wingless races this year?
As of now, no. Just because with the Outlaw schedule, you're literally racing, every weekend. So a lot of the non-wing races, there isn't many midweek shows, so it's kind of hard to fill in races from there. So as of now, no. I've only done 2 non-wing races, but the Outlaw stuff pays so much better than any other series out there, and usually non-wing pays less than wing racing. So, as of now, no.
Now, are you gonna make any trips to Lebanon Valley this year? I know I want to try to get out there at least once this year, and maybe if you're there for the Outlaw show, they'll give me a little more incentive.
I'll be at Lebanon Valley. I'll be at Middletown, New York, also with that Outlaw show, and I'll be at New Egypt in New Jersey, which isn't too far either. So I got a few tracks that are semi-close.
All right, well, best of luck to you, bud.
We're talking with David Gravel. He runs on the World of Outlaws. Phone lines are open, 203-757-1320. Coming up a little bit later on, we're going to talk to Monty Dutton from MontyDutton.com, a gentleman that's very knowledgeable when it comes to auto racing. He's been covering it for many, many years, and he also knows a thing or two about baseball as well. David, before you came on, we were talking. I was talking with Ryan about this. Is the new this dash format, is that new, or has that been around for a long, long time? Ryan, can you imagine if they did that kind of format for the NASCAR Wheel Modified Tour?
I wish they would do it. I even wish they would do it for the Open Tri-Track Series when we go to the Star Speedway League or Seekonk. It would make it interesting. I've always been a fan of the World of Outlaws and how they conduct races, so it always seems exciting.
Hey, David, I was also talking with Ryan and Tony, of course, and you came from the Silver City Quarter Midget Club like they did as well. And you guys all kind of took different paths. You went down the dirt path, and Tony and Ryan went down the asphalt path. Looking back now, are you glad you made that choice to go down the dirt path, or would you like to try some asphalt, modified racing?
For me, it was just, I didn't really have many ties in racing. I had a legend car that raced at Waterford, and I went to Whip City on the weekends and raced the micro, and I just fell in love with the micro, and, just went on from there. We traveled to Pennsylvania every weekend with the micros, and then got a sprint car, and, I don't regret it. I think definitely there's an option to do asphalt stuff in the future, but as everybody knows, it's very expensive to do, K&N races or truck races or, late model races. So it's one of those things. I can see me definitely trying it for sure. And, everybody wants it to make it to NASCAR. So, that's always the ultimate goal. But if I'm running the Little Outlaws my whole life, I can't complain either.
Right, you're doing very well. As I mentioned, you're out in California as we speak. So right now, what is it, 3:15 out there? Now, do you have any races tonight? Talk about the competition with the World of Outlaws, some of the drivers that you're competing against. David, what's the purse like for the World of Outlaws? Like the race that you won back a few weeks ago. To talk about the purse and what you took home for first place.
A standard outlaw show is 10,000 to win, 800 to start, $2,000 for 10th, and usually guys that run with them a lot get tow money. So like we got tow money and free pit passes and stuff like that, and they give you like contingency awards for certain spots. So we got like 10 grand to win, like $300 tow money. We got a free Hoosier tire, and like I think $100 worth of contingency stuff. So it was a pretty good night. There's like midweek shows that pay a little bit less, and usually 2-day shows at the same track. They'll still pay 10,000 to win, but they'll probably be like 700 to start, and just pay a little bit less throughout the field.
Well, I'm glad to see you guys are getting, you're getting taken care of by the series. And that was the tow money was something that made my ears ring. My father's told me stories about, back in the Riverside Park days when he raced. They got tow money just to bring to the track. They got free pit passes. They got the driver's pass, an owner's pass, and a ladies' pass. So 1 week the driver's wife, girlfriend, or whatever would get the pass, and the owners would get it the next week. And that's something I haven't heard of in a long time. And it's good to hear that some series out there, as tracks or whatever, are taking care of the teams that are putting a lot of sacrifices and finances to support that series and go racing and put on a good show for the fans. So it's good to hear that you're getting taken care of like that out there, and it's wish more tracks and series would do something like that, because it doesn't get any easier no matter where you go.
Well, he chose right going dirt.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? NASCAR takes care of us, or takes care of me on the tour, and I'd say asphalt right now. It's making a comeback. Obviously, dirt's going real strong. David, you know that, and the Tri-Track series. I think that might revive asphalt racing a little bit more.
Just I think racing's pretty well. It looks like the lower nationwide series and stuff like that are kind of hurting for. Look at all the NASCAR guys driving, nationwide races now, and they're all up front, They're definitely bringing the young kids up fast, like Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott and Brian Blaney. They're not waiting for these guys to come up. So they're always looking for new people, and I think it's pretty good right now. But we know that NASCAR is super, super expensive and all that. It's just tough nowadays to get money round up, and as long as you got money and some talent, I think you're all right.
Well, David, thanks for spending some time tonight on this edition of Speedway Line Report Radio. Once again, congratulations on your victory back a few weeks ago at Merced Speedway, and good luck throughout the remainder of the 2014 season. Okay. Thanks, David. David Gravel joining us tonight on this edition of Speedway Line Report Radio. This show is also being brought to you by JM Montesano Auto Body Works. They are specialists in auto collision. All work is guaranteed. Located at 390 Lombard Street in New Haven, Connecticut. you can give them a call, 203-865-1389. J.M. Montesano Auto Body Works. I've seen their work, and it is absolutely fantastic. And like I said, they are specialists in auto collision, and once again, all of their work is guaranteed. So if you live in and around the New Haven area and you need auto body work done to your car, I suggest J.M. Montesano Auto Body Works. Once again, 390 Lombard Street in New Haven, Connecticut. And Ricky Rotundo, how about Jim's Lawn Care Service out of Cheshire, Connecticut. Does a great job, takes care of my yard. He's got to get over there and start putting some fertilizer down and some other things, but that's another story. But he does do a great job, and of course he's right out of Cheshire, Connecticut. You can give him a call, 203-272-2054 for Jim's Lawn Care Service of Cheshire.
Yeah, he was down my shop yesterday and Saturday and last week. He wanted to make sure I said hi and that he was at Waterford this week also. So, yep, he's back racing again also, back to the racetrack.
And of course, right down the road from us here in Waterbury, Connecticut, the Grotto Restaurant, serving fine Italian food, whether it's eat-in or takeout. And once again, they're located at 634 Watertown Avenue in Waterbury, Connecticut, only 2 minutes from the I-84 Route 8 interchange. Home-style pastas and sauces, the Grotto Restaurant. So we're going to get Monty Dutton on the line, and we're going to talk to Monty about what's going on in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, of course, the Camping World Truck Series, and of course, the Nationwide Series. So we'll talk to him for a few minutes about that. We'll get his take, and of course, Ricky, he joined us, I don't know, 3 or 4 times last year, and of course, always brings us up to speed on something in those 3 series.
Yeah, he's always got something interesting to say, and he's always got a little tidbit that we don't know nothing about. So it'll be interesting to see what he got now.
And you can check out his work at montydutton.com. Once again, running a little bit behind tonight here, and certainly glad the guest that we had on tonight. Of course, it started out with Scott Fern in the drive-by, and then of course we heard from Woody Pitcat. We just heard from David Gravel. And we're going to get Monty Dutton on the line here and talk to him. And, of course, great to see Ryan Preece and Tony Membrino Jr. And, Ryan, let's, while we're waiting for Monty Dutton, I mentioned that you raced Waterford Speedbowl on Saturday night, the event that Ed Pulio won. Keith Rocca was second. I believe Craig Lutz was third. And you were somewhere, were you 4th or 5th?
I was 4th. It was pretty cool. It was Keith's home track. You know, that's pretty much where he's dominated for the past few years. So hopefully I'm going to be I'll be there Sunday after Langley. I'm going to drive all the way home to race there this Sunday and maybe a few more times, actually a couple more times. So we'll see if we can get a win and keep Keith behind us.
Right, that was the blast-off that got postponed back from a few weeks ago.
Yep, yeah, so it's going to be exciting stuff.
Okay, Monty Dutton is on the line. Monty, I appreciate running a little bit behind tonight on Speedway Line Report Radio, but first of all, how are you? Let's talk about, of course, today, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. They were in action. Joey Logano picked up the win. What was your take on the Sprint Cup Series event?
Well, I thought that it was a weird race at the start and a weird race at the end. For the second time in 2 weeks, somebody was pretty much had the race won, and all of a sudden there was a caution flag. This one in Texas was at least intentionally waived, unlike I don't know what happened at Bristol, but in neither case did it cost the worthy winner the victory. So, but then the race also began with really strange things in that Jimmy Johnson's day was pretty much ruined because his car was attacked by the air dryer and he didn't run into it. But the fact is that this new air dryer apparently sends out such a high wind hot air, that it damaged the hood of Brad Keselowski's car, and then somehow the windshield of Johnson's car got caved in, and so and a few others had problems because basically going by that dryer, it caused dents on the right side of their car, which is one of the strangest things. Well, it's not as strange as a driver running into a dryer, but And then, of course, the next thing is I think the second green flag lap, Dale Earnhardt Jr. crashed very, very hard, in which he sort of inexplicably drove into the grass, and his car shot into the wall. And it's very unusual. He took the blame, and it was all his fault. He didn't say he had a blown tire or anything. It's very unusual for a driver that good to make a mistake like that.
Are you surprised so far? We've had 7 races, we've had 7 different winners, and 7 different pole winners.
A little bit surprised, but it's not unprecedented. There were 10 straight winners in 2000 and 9 in 2003. My attitude about this is that I always think that a lot of what people write this time of year is ridiculous. And people are saying that there might be more than, 16 winners. And if there's more than 16 winners in 26 races, then to me, I would suspect it was rigged. And I don't suspect it's rigged, but I mean, the big deal is this. There's 7 different winners, but there really haven't been any unexpected winners. I think you figured Kurt Busch was going to win when he got in better equipment. I think that Dale Earnhardt Jr. was certainly due. I don't think there's been a surprise. It's just that 7 different guys have won. And Matt Kenseth and Jimmy Johnson haven't won at all. And I'll bet you those 2 win 2 between now and then. So it is an anomaly. It is exciting. But I do not believe that there's going to be somebody who wins a race and doesn't make the chase because there's too many. The other weird thing about it, by the way, is the fact that 7 different guys have won races, and yet first and second in points, those points, the things that they used to matter, are guys who haven't won. Because Gordon is leading the points right now, and he hasn't won a race.
We're talking with Monty Dutton. You can check out his blog at montydutton.com. And Monty, I am joined here tonight, of course, my regular co-host, Rocket Rick Rotundo, the 2013 NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour champion, Ryan Preece, and the 2013 SK Light Modified champion from Stafford Motor Speedway, Tony Membrino Jr. And I know you follow the modifieds when you can. Did you get a chance to see the modified race from Thompson yesterday on fanschoicetv.com? Okay, the Battle at the Beach. Ryan and I talked about that earlier. What'd you think of that race, by the way?
Oh, I always think, to me, what I love about modifieds is this comes from years of occasionally seeing them at places like Richmond and then often seeing them in New Hampshire, is that to me, watching a modified race in New Hampshire is like watching a cup race at Talladega. To me, it's that breathtaking. And so I'm a big fan. I think it just kind of, modifieds were really the #1 division of NASCAR when it was formed, because the strictly stock division took a few years to take off. Really, what NASCAR was originally all about was modified racing, and so I think it's a sport. You never see modified fans who aren't very knowledgeable. You see a lot of Cup fans who don't know anything. They get upset if there's 3 laps without a wreck or something. But I think modified fans is kind of like kind of like the baseball fans at some of the most traditional cities, And so I'm a big fan of modifieds.
Hey, Monty, we're running short on time tonight. If you're available next Monday night, I'd like to bring you back and go over some other things that I've had written down. Well, before we go, I'd like to talk to you about Kyle Larson. Can he win a Cup race in 2014?
Wouldn't bet on it, but I think he very definitely could. I would not. I'd say it's about 50-50, but he definitely can. I think he's right on track to do it, and I think that there's 2 guys. It's funny, I wish that I had said this on a radio show like yours, but about a month ago, one of my best friends and I were talking, and I said that there's a lot of good young drivers, but the only 2 I can tell you right now that are going to be big are Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott. Boy, I'm looking pretty good with that right now.
Certainly are, as Chase Elliott.
I have seen enough that I believe, the first time I looked at Larson, the first time I looked at Jimmy Johnson, I didn't think he was going to win 6 championships. It's not like I'm some great judge of talent, but I was just about a month ago, I was saying that in my mind, there's no doubt that they're both going to be stars.
Okay. Monty, are you available next Monday night so we can continue our conversation? All right. And I'll touch base with you, during the weekend. We'll get a time, because I want to go over a lot more things with you, because you are a very knowledgeable guy when it comes to auto racing, and really appreciate your time and being on the show. So we'll talk next Monday night. You're very welcome. Monty Dutton joining us on this edition of Speedway Line Report Radio, and we'll get him back on next Monday night. A big thank you to our guest tonight, Ryan Preece, Tony Membrino Jr., we heard from Woody Pitcat. We heard from David Gravel. Just heard from Monty Dutton, and of course a drive-by by Scott Fern. We are back with you each and every Monday night from 6 to 7:30 p.m. If you'd like to revisit this show, all you have to do is go to SpeedwayLineReport.com. Speedway Line Report Radio is presented to you by Shaler Acura of Manchester, Connecticut, along with Embroidery Works, Jim's Lawn Care Service, and Grotto Restaurant. For all of us here at Speedway Line Report Radio, I'm Gary Danko. I ask you, please support your short tracks and your regional racing. For all of us, once again, I'm Gary Danko. Good night.
The preceding has been a GMD production. Don't forget to listen to Gary next Monday night for more auto racing news on the Speedway Line Report.
That guy's good.
And in case you didn't catch the entire program tonight, check the archive shows at SpeedwayLineReport.com.
To have the 7 different winners as of right now.
Oh, I thought that was big. I think the racing's a lot better.
Yeah, I told everybody at the beginning of the year that I think there's going to be a lot of guys that are going to pop off
This
wins
is
because
13:20 a.m.
that's all that matters.
Well, not only that, but I think what they did during the offseason with the level playing field, because even Baldwin,
Okay.
even Baldwin, thanks.
Put 'em on.
I'll throw him on the 40.
There you go. Put them on the tires.
Yeah.
How about this guy?
That's what I'm saying.